Welcome to Cutting Down the Nets. We are live for a Tuesday edition, kind of a lunchtime edition, as I've had quite a lot of responsibilities with my real job and the NBA Top Shot market. If you haven't got into that, well, that has been certainly interesting. Very volatile. So let's dig into what we want to talk about today, which is college basketball. We have a nice slate of games, a good mix of small schools, big schools, and let's dig right into where we left off yesterday. The pulse is increasing. The bets are increasing. We got out the broom yesterday for the 3-game sweep, bringing us to 46%. Boy, there are days where I just want to pretend that 2-3 day stretch last week just didn't happen, but we're going to keep climbing all the way into March. So I'm going to start with my pool of games to choose from. So if you've ever played DFS, you start with a player pool. You identify good players to put in your player pool. And then you make decisions on who's going to go in your lineup based on how projectable they are, whether there's amount of risk, is someone coming off injury, has snaps been inconsistent, those type of things. Similar here. I have a pool of games to choose from. We're going to kind of talk through them as to which ones I feel are most projectable or predictable. There are just some situations that add variance to the equation that I just view as too much risk and stay away. That does not mean bet the other side. It just means this game doesn't feel projectable or predictable. I don't know how the situation will play out, and it'll make sense as we kind of go through them. So first game is SLU at VCU. St. Louis and VCU have given me my most favorite Vegas memories of my life. My favorite moments involve those teams. Oh, wow, just nostalgic. So A10, man, you'll always have a piece of my heart. And this game is really going to come down to whether or not you think SLU is back to where they were early in the season. It looked like they were trending that way, and then they laid a complete egg against Dayton. Even adjusting for that a little bit, I see some value in the Rams here. UMass Richmond, some notes here. UMass has not played since February 6th. UMass analytically is good. Like, this is a good team. It's just been a long pause. That line keeps going up, though. So is there enough spread to cover, any COVID issues coming out of the break there? Richmond themselves are good. I mean, they beat Loyola this year. These are two good teams. It just may not be predictable with UMass's long break. Johnny's against Villanova. Johnny's actually beat Villanova a week or two ago, and the revenge narrative says Villanova's hitting their stride. I see some value in the Johnnies, so we'll kind of see where we end up there. Notre Dame, Louisville. Louisville also took a little break. They came back, got completely trucked by North Carolina. Even if I throw that game out or discount it heavily, it still looks like a Notre Dame play. But if you include it, it's a strong Notre Dame play. So we'll have to see how much stock we're putting into where Louisville is at right now. Big spread here. Prairie View A&M is an average team. Analytically, they profile close to like Kansas State, who is currently 6-18 in the Big 12. But they get Pine Bluff, and Pine Bluff is bottom 4 in my rankings, and most rankings usually compete with Chicago State and Mississippi Valley State as the worst this year. So I don't know. Feels like more of a live betting opportunity, but Arkansas Pine Bluff is real bad. UConn Georgetown. Notes here. James Bouknight has returned. He's played 2 games. He is UConn's best player. He is really, really good. When he missed, their analytics didn't change a whole lot. Their defensive efficiency went up a little bit. I mean, they were a little worse than with him, and their offense was very similar. So I think people could be overreacting to Bouknight returning, but gosh, he's a good player. Creep can roll, man. Iowa State Baylor. Baylor hasn't played in 3 weeks, and they are 4 touchdown favorites in my model, which is crazy. That line opened at 24.5, came down a point, so I think people are worried about Baylor after the break. So probably a live betting opportunity. And the next 2 games were not included in my first run last night, but line has moved enough to kind of open the door for possibly betting those. So Buffalo opened at 13, went down to 11. Has that created enough of a spread to take road Buffalo? Not sure. And similar case with Florida and Auburn. So we got a good mix of schools, large and small. But if you plan on watching some games, I do just kind of highlight the other remaining quote-unquote marquee games today, or larger conference schools, and how I see them playing out. Virginia Tech has had that line moved, so is there enough of a push there to get on Georgia Tech? Maybe not yet, but if I saw 3 and a hook, maybe a small bet. You want to bet on Nebraska? Bet on Nebraska. I'm going to not bet on Nebraska, but that line could reach 6.5 as well. Is that enough value there for you? I don't know. So there's the games. You can see them. If you plan on watching them or want to play them, go for them. So out of all this, I have landed on 3 games that I am playing the largest. I could end up splashing some other stuff depending on how stuff shakes out. But these are my 3 recommended plays, the ones I like the best. A10 action. We're going to take VCU plus the 3.5. You just never know with SLU, though. They could show up. I have kind of accounted for where I think they are, and it still is showing as a VCU play. I like getting 3 in the hook. I like VCU at home. So stake a bet, make a bet. Next up, I am going to go with the Johnnies. I think 11 points is enough, and I think that game can stay in the single digits. Villanova's good. Jay Wright could coach. That offense is clicking. I've seen some adjusted efficiencies on the offensive side of the ball pop up in the 1.3, 1.4. The defense is not where they have been historically in their great years. If they could figure out their defense, they probably have some future value, because the offense is there. The offense is right where a Jay Wright offense typically is. But in this case, if you look at St. John's profile, that is a good team. I think they're a frustrating team to play. They're very, very active. And going with the Johnnies plus 11. Last game on the slate, we go back to Notre Dame, who blew a 22-point lead in a 6-minute span against Syracuse. That's at least what it felt like. I don't know what it was, but man, they crapped the bed against Syracuse. Louisville, as I mentioned before, has only played 1 game after their COVID break. I'm throwing it out. They got absolutely dominated by North Carolina. I'm just throwing it out, and this still looks like a play for me on Notre Dame plus 4.5. So those are the ones that I am locking in, and then probably do some live betting on some of those larger spreads that we saw, and might get suckered into UMass after the COVID break. We'll see kind of how that shakes out. But these are the 3 that I am most excited about and do not have nearly as much hesitation as the other games. So thanks for stopping by, cutting down the nets. Good luck with your college basketball bets.